Hello there, and welcome to KnowThyselfUniversity.net's book reviews. This particular segment is actually the intro that's going to go in front of all of the intro book reviews. So for this next 30 videos, you're going to see a lot of books that we're going to bring up, and I'm going to show you why it's helpful in my life and could be helpful in yours also. And in this intro, I wanted you just to know that this gives you an opportunity to get the books that we're going to be talking about and let you know why we're doing the books, but also to let the authors of these books know that once we do get into the in-depth portion of the book reviews, we're not going to just sit there and read page for page of your books. We want to basically just highlight your book and basically be a good commercial so that we can refer other people to these particular books and other books you may have. So we're not going to just sit here and just give away your whole book for free online. That's not what we're about. But we want to highlight certain books just so that people can get a taste of what we like to get into in order for us to know ourselves better and to know thyself university. That is how you know the universe. And this particular book, I'll be quick, that for this month, we're going to be highlighting Shawn Stevenson's book, the Sleep Smarter book. It includes a 14-day plan for you to get restful sleep and why it's important. 21 essential strategies to sleep your way to better body, better health, and bigger success. Shawn Stevenson with the foreword by Sarah Godfrey. This is this month's highlighted book that we're going to be showcasing. So you're going to see this for all the other videos. Okay, sit tight, enjoy, please subscribe, share, and comment on other books that you might want us to review also. Peace. Okay, this particular book I wasn't going to do, but I just finished the Quran and Bible intro. Santaría. Santaría, the religion, by Migene González Wippler. Now, this was a friend of mine gave this to me. I believe we went to New Orleans, and I was breaking down the history tour about how the Africans brought here, and there's a lot of, through I don't call it the slave trade as alpha, because we're not slaves and we're not descendants of slaves. That's very disrespectful when a prisoner of war gets the respect of being called a prisoner of war, not a slave, which comes from the word Slavic. That's that. It was some white on white crime is where the word slaves come from. Then you had terms like serf, but it means the same thing. So even for the European, the Asian, the black man, the indigenous man here in the Americas, Turtle Island, I would like to remind people that these aren't slaves we're talking about. They're prisoners of war. Some of these prisoners of war, when they came over, they were able to, during their Christianization process, were able to hide their religions inside of Christianity. I have a lot of experience with brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, and my Haitian brothers and sisters who are adherents to these religions. Santaría, before even reading it, I haven't read this book yet, but I can tell you just by looking at the term Santaría, saints, or Santa, or Santo, or saints. So I already know, just looking at the title, they're talking about what our brothers and sisters in Cuba were doing. Where, and I don't want to mix it up, but taking the Catholic saints and imbuing in them the aspects of ancient African deities, which is interesting. Once we go a little bit deeper into it, that's where the term angels come from, Ankh Els. That El is the ancient Canaanite deity for God and an Ankh El, the angels, are different aspects of the Creator God. Even in the Muslim faith, the different names that you name your child or yourself actually are different aspects of God. So they're angelic names. Muhammad, Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of El. Daniel. That El is a certain aspect of God. It's God's mercy, God's benevolence, God's beauty, most beloved of God, different things like that. The Santaría, the different aspects of God, the God host will be Olodumare. A lot of people might remember Michael Jackson when he was going through his case and stuff like that. And I hope this ain't true, because a couple of days ago, they were putting up reports. Now, of course, this is just as a so-called fan. I'm not really a fan of most. I understand people are human and they do their things. But I don't play with people that mess with children. If this is true that they were pulling things out of the household, I know this is going off on a tangent. If it's true they were pulling out nudity books about children, even though a lot of them didn't actually have children, because the face was manipulated and stuff like that. If he really did have those books and they were his books, for me, he's probably guilty. This is the age of the internet and DVDs and stuff. And if he really did have stacks and stacks upon stacks of homosexual and adolescent, even if they were not in sexual activities, but they were just naked, holding hands, little kids and stuff like that. Not watched a lot of porn, but I don't want to see children. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into that. I've seen some dirty stuff online. I didn't know what a tranny was, and tranny surprise, I was surprised. I was like, oh, no. But I'm saying that, going back to, he had a shirt on that said Olodumare. That's why I brought that up. For most people, they didn't know what that meant. But that showed you at a certain point, he was like, I got to connect back to my peeps, the ancient peeps. He was going through this thing with the, what sect of Christianity was he from? Jehovah's Witness. I was about to say it like Ashwakwezi, what he called Jehovah's Witness, but I'm not going to do that. I guess he got to a certain point where he felt like, because, they had a problem with him when he did the movie Thriller, because he was in there with a lot of the demons and stuff like that. What does it have to do with Santaria? What I'm saying is a lot of the Africans brought over certain aspects of, and in particular, Africans in general, but in particular, Africans from the Yoruba culture of people coming from what is now called Nigeria. They would be, let's see, you got the house at the top, but you're Muslim. And that's interesting because the Europeans went in, they didn't want the whole of Nigeria being Muslim, so they bombarded the southern part with Igbo, Christianized Igbo, in order to stop the spread of Islam going throughout all of Nigeria, which is the real reason why you see this Boko Haram kidnapping children thing going on. But I digress. I'm not going to get that deep into that. But the different aspects of the Neter, the Neteru, the aspects of God in this particular part of the world at this particular time period is Olodumare. The aspects of God, the gods. Like the ancient Egyptians would say, Neteru, where you get natural from, the term natural, nature. The Neter are those actual gods, which in actuality aren't black folks worshiping many different gods. They acknowledge that God manifests God's self in different aspects, different personalities. The word person comes from per, through, sound. It's a vibration. I'm the type of person that blah, blah, blah. It's a persona. It's a mask. It's a vibration. You are not one person. That's why I like the book Metu Netter, studying what does the word individual mean. It comes from indivisible duality, positive and negative. Every single person comes from a duality that cannot be divided. So even when you're saying, I'm an individual, I'm one, it really doesn't even mean one, it means two. Santaría was those Africans, in particular, I believe they were Yoruba, mostly in particular, who took the saints, which are also aspects of deities coming from ancient Africa that a lot of people don't know, who have certain qualities that those same ancient African gods had. So when these Africans came and they saw the different European statues, they was like, oh, that's Oshun. That's Mama Oshun. That's Shango, the fiery warrior god Shango. See, in this particular moment, I'm about to go to this battle. I'm about to go to get this job. I'm about to go handle this situation. I need to invoke the vibration of Shango right now. I need Mama Oshun in me because I just lost a loved one. I need the embrace of Mama Oshun. I'm about to take this trip on the ocean, and I pray that Yemanya will protect us because she controls the waters. Different stuff like that. I'm going to read the back. This is in the Anthropology / Santaría African Latino Religion. Fascinating reading. The library journal says, hidden, disguised, and subverted, it survives. When the Yoruba, I was right, of West Africa were brought to Cuba as slaves, captured Africans, they preserved their religious heritage by disguising their gods as Catholic saints and worshiping them in secret. The resulting religion was Santaría, a blend of primitive magic and Catholicism now practiced by an estimated 5 million Hispanic Americans. In an insightful examination of an African religion's survival in the New World, this informative text will reveal its secrets from the perspective of both insider and scholar. Blending informed study as an anthropologist, which I am also, and personal experience as a Santarían initiate, which I am not, author Migene González Wippler uncovers Santaría's spellbinding elements, the pantheon of gods, the Orishas, that's the word, I forgot, Orishas, which is one of my favorite groups from Cuba too, is a rap group, Orishas. Tight. One of my favorite spiritual and politically hard-hitting groups. But they, of course, they had to leave Cuba. I believe they have to reside in France because of, the embargo and things like that, which is sure like it's going to be open for us now. I would love to go to Cuba. But the Orishas, the priests, Santeros, the priests or the Santeros, the divining shells, the Dilogun, used to consult the gods, and the herbal potions prepared as medicinal cures for magic, Ewe. And that sounds like a Nigerian word, Ewe. Explore the controversial ceremonies, including animal sacrifices that are often misunderstood outside the Santarían community. And I'm gonna put a little cliff note, a little asterisk right there, because we're gonna go back to that. Why I don't mind using this book. With remarkable photographs and penetrating interviews, aspects of the religion that have rarely been revealed to non-believers are now disclosed. The time has come to expose this growing spiritual practice that continues to gain new adherents worldwide. Migene González Wippler is a cultural anthropologist with degrees from the University of Puerto Rico and Columbia University. She has been an associate English editor for the United Nations of Vienna and an editor for Latin New York and Latin US magazines, and is the author of over 15 books, including Santaría, African Magic in Latin America, the Santaría Experience, and Peregrinaje, a best-selling Spanish language book about the afterlife. Born in Puerto Rico, she now lives in New York, and frequently lectures on various cultures and religions. It's funny, when you read a lot of different languages, the second I hear something in Spanish, your mind just starts going to Spanish. That's interesting. That's the fun part about studying languages, which we're going to be doing a lot of. Just a little preview. We're going to go over the Spanish English dictionary. I grew up reading the Spanish dictionary and the French dictionary. Fluent forever. Just a little preview. Literally the best language book ever. That's talking about English, little idioms and stuff in English, and textual cultural literacy. We're going to be doing those too. And there's Arabic grammar. And we're going to go into Japanese, Korean. We're going to go through a lot of language. We're going to have some fun. But that's the front and back of this book. Now, that little asterisk that I told you about, because at first I was going to do this, I was like, oh, that's like me controversial, but that's what we do here. But I just think people are ready. Was he is he a Santaría? Was he into that stuff? Nope. But I understand it. I've attended a lot of Lukumi. That would be like the Santaría in the Americas, in the United States. The brothers and sisters taking their African religious aspects to Haiti, you know it as voodoo. In New Orleans, where me and the sister bought this book. She was interested, but I think she didn't read it because she got back home, went back to church. She felt like she was reading something of the devil, and that dogma was like, do you want this book? Yeah, of course, I'll read it. It's a book to me. It's knowledge. I'm not a convert. I'm an extrovert. I like to read. I study anything and everything. You know what I'm saying? As long as it doesn't involve bestiality and mess with children in a perverted way. I'm not into that. But if it's freaky, you're of age, sexual age, we can talk. We can talk and study different books. We're going to talk about exotic books too. Manipulating the erogenous zones of women. How to get the women to get that experience, that big O, the orgasm a lot of women aren't getting. All of that is science. You're going to get that to knowthyselfuniversity.net. I wouldn't be Professor Lorenzo McCoy if I didn't touch those subjects. And you're a subject. But that asterisk had to do with the controversial animal sacrifices. Once again, how can I talk about that and say when both of these are replete, filled, ubiquitously consisting of animal sacrifice? You see what I'm saying? I have to. We got to be honest with ourselves when we talk about these subjects. They just still doing it. They're still living the Hebrew way of life in many aspects in terms of, because see, my thing is, you have to know what a scapegoat is. If you really want to go into your ancient Hebrew practice, the term scapegoat means that they really felt like if a town or a village or a person in particular did something wrong, and they want to make amends with God or to the people around them so they don't get physically punished, they go get a goat and sacrifice him on behalf of the humans, and him shedding his blood makes it all good. That's what a scapegoat means. That's when they actually found a goat to sacrifice to appease God I guess this point, Yahweh, to appease that. It could be that that village, that particular person, or the particular rabbi, that teacher. You know what I'm saying? If he got caught doing something he shouldn't have been doing, they go get a scapegoat. Go get your scapegoat. So like when the Catholic, goes to confession, and they say, okay, I want you to go and do 10 Hail Marys and 100 Our Fathers, and go do something nice in the public, clean everybody's yard on your street, whatever. This time, the Hebrew would be like, all right, you need to go out and get your whole family. Your family's trash building up in the neighborhood. You're not keeping your house clean, painted. Your animals went out and bit brother Ezekiel's cat in the ass or something. You know what I'm saying? Go get you a scapegoat. Bring it up here. We're gonna cut off the head and spread his guts all over the altar. One of the most nastiest times in the history of religion had to do with those altars. Can you imagine the smell? All the blood and guts. And we talking about smearing and putting your hands in the guts and spreading the guts and then burning a certain part of it. And then the creator's like, that smells good. That's what the scriptures say. The scriptures actually say, that smells good to my nose. Once again, I can't look down on somebody else doing the same thing and say that's so devilish and demonic. And people forget when they read their religion books, that's how people were living. You know what I'm saying? So you don't point the finger over here when you don't read your own book. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and do it. I just did the book review on the Quran and the Holy Bible. So we can talk about Santaría also in relationship to the Bible and people trying to adhere to their own religious practices that have a lot to do with the Hebrew religion. Just keeping it real. They have their own ways of slaughtering the animals too, to make it not barbaric. You know what I'm saying? They have their own halal way of doing it, and they have their own kosher way of doing it also, just from doing research from years ago. But yeah, Lukumi, Santaria, Vodun, and Voodoo are different. It's like Christianity, but you got different sects that change over time, and depending on what people and what time in history, you know what I'm saying, and what social political aspect is surrounding that particular population, you get these different versions of this ancient Yoruba religious practice. So Lukumi, Santeria, Bodun, Voodoo. You've all probably heard of voodoo and stuff like that. But these are all of these religions coming from Africa that the captured African, not slaves, brought over with them. And they want to adhere to it. And we're going to go deeper into it. And I'll give you my take on it, or why it is still okay to talk about, and how can we use these aspects. Now, I don't have to use Santeria in your life, but why I choose a lot of these books and how you can use certain of this knowledge in the understanding of your own religion. This has been Professor Lorenzo McCoy. Talk to you soon. Well, thanks again for joining us today at KnowThyselfUniversity.net's online school. Hopefully this book review, or this intro to the book review, wet your whistle a little bit and gave you an insight of what we deal with when we deal with a lot of these books, and show the significance that a lot of these books and what reading really does is very, very detrimental to your health if you're not reading books these days. But please subscribe, share, and get these books so that we can talk further once we get deeper into these books. Once again, this has been Lorenzo McCoy. Share, subscribe, comment, and let everybody know this is the place to be for reading books. Thank you.